State governments make the rules for how retirement villages must give information to potential residents, with the aim of allowing people to make an informed choice. We did some user experience testing to see how well those disclosure formats actually achieve that aim in real life, and whether they can be improved. This video gives you a flavour of the findings. The written research report has the full details. We recruited 20 retirees who were interested in moving to a retirement village. 3/4 of the volunteers were professional people with a university education. They each spent about an hour and a half using information about 2 hypothetical retirement villages. The documents reflected typical retirement village contracts. One village had 3 contract options, the other had just 1. First, we asked 4 people to use documents about the villages in the Victorian format, and asked another 4 people to use documents in the New South Wales format. People's overall reaction was confusion.
I'm totally confused now, and I'm only up to page 7.
Yeah, I find it all quite confusing so far, and that might be. Yeah, if I was sitting looking at this on my own, I'd be like, oh my God, it's far too complicated and I'm not going to move in.
Doesn't really make sense to me, I'm sorry. Sort of got me a bit stumped as to why they're giving me all these different things.
I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
A communication format is effective if most people can use it for the intended purposes. If they can't, it's the communication format that's at fault, not the user. The Victorian and New South Wales paper formats were only effective in 1 of the 5 tasks that we tested. The documents were effective in explaining the dollar amount you would pay to move into the village, and the monthly amount you would pay towards the village's running costs. But when you leave the village, each contract had up to 5 different fees. Most fees were expressed as an abstract formula. These left most people baffled, and unaware that the fees could add up to over $300,000.
I'm lost. I'm lost with the deferred management base.
So the base contract only has a 2-year that you for 17%. The certainty is 5% for 7 years, and then there's an admin fee of 1.5%, and there's a capital maintenance fee of 1.2%, and that one's got it's all over the place.
If the resident must pay a refundable ingoing contribution, is a fee deducted at permanent departure? And it doesn't answer. If you change your mind and leave the village within the first 6 months, no is crossed. Otherwise, base contract, yes, you pay the departure fee is based on other basis. What is that? This is more. It's not explaining anything. It's other basis. 17% per year for a minute. I don't know I have no idea what this payment is. No idea. Based on what they've told me so far, I am totally confused.
But I don't know why they have to make it so difficult.
Oh, okay, so the 4% is a maximum of 5 years. It's still a bit of a mystery to me.
Deducted from your refund. The fee is 1% of the next resident's entry fee for each year since you moved. I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
They do explain it, but why are they all so complicated? Why can you not just have why do they have all these bits and pieces? Like the next resident's entry fee, you don't know what that's going to be. I mean, that whole basis for this is complicated. It's not straightforward and going and buying a car or going and buying a house or anything like that. They're really, really complicated, which make me think I wouldn't even move into either of these two.
Could you summarise the fees to them?
No idea. No.
The retirement village with 3 contract options created even greater confusion. The options differed in entry and exit fees, sharing of capital gains, responsibility for renovation costs, and potential delay in getting your money back.
Until I know what the difference is between a base contract, a certainty contract, and a simple contract, I have no idea what they're talking about. No idea.
So I don't know what the three contracts are, what they mean.
Why have we got these three different contracts? Why have we got the choices of these three? Why are they making it harder instead of simple?
Somebody would need to explain to us what a base contract, a certainty contract, and a simple contract are. A total mystery to me.
These options become pretty confusing at 74, almost 75-year-old, who knows nothing about retirement villages.
After people had looked at the paper documents, we asked them which retirement village option would be cheaper.
It's so amorphous, just looking at all those percentages and number of years and so on. It really wouldn't enable anyone to make a reasonable estimate.
I have no idea which of those would be best for us.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd be very difficult to pick one.
The complex maths meant that only one of the 8 people could use the paper documents to estimate which contract option would be cheaper overall. After observing the problems people had with the Victorian and New South Wales paper formats, we used best practice communication techniques to develop a new paper format. We tested it with 8 people.
Yes, I like it. I like the way that that's laid out. Just cuts through all the rubbish, and I like the fact that it's coloured as well. That seems to help.
While our new paper format was a big improvement, it still did not let most people make informed decisions or compared costs. If villages are allowed to have complex fee structures or multiple contract options, we didn't see how any paper format could be effective on its own. We tried getting people to transfer information about fees from a paper form into an online calculator to analyse the costs. We trialled both the New South Wales Government's Retirement Village Calculator and the Macquarie University Calculator. However, all 8 people made major mistakes without realising it when entering the complicated fee information into the calculators. This meant every result was wrong by at least $100,000. The final disclosure format we trialled was our new paper format, working in combination with a mock-up of a comparison website, like comparing hotels on Trivago. This combination proved to be effective in all 4 tests. This had big advantages. People only had to enter their age and select which villages they wanted to compare. The website already had all the complex information about fees and contract terms for each village, and it did all the complex maths.
Easy, because all the work's been done.
The website presented a side-by-side comparison of the villages, including the overall cost of each. We asked our participants how useful the comparison website is.
I think that the paperwork is essential, but it's overwhelming, the amount of detail in it. So I also feel that the website or an equivalent is essential to get a picture of the finances.
I think it's very useful because that's really what we were looking for. How much will it be and blah, 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 money-wise, and it's all set out there.
Yeah, essential. It's so complex.
Plus, you also take into account other things that we hadn't even thought of, such as whether you can get into a nursing home and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and the fact that with some of them, you might have to wait 5 years before you get your money back or something. So yes, very useful.
Yeah.
One of the biggest issues with retirement villages is understanding the financial side of it. And the paper doesn't do it well enough for me. This site that you've set up here, this that I'm looking at, really brings home to me the figures on an overall thing where I could sit down on my own or with a family member and go through and be confident I was making a good decision.
And we look forward to one day using the website when we're going to the retirement village.
How long before this site's going to be up and running on the internet? Because I'm not going into a retirement village until I do use it.